On the 26th of July, our church celebrates the memory of Saint Paraskevi. The following is a recount of her life and some comments on the key messages we can take from it. Saint Paraskevi was born in Rome around 140 AD of Greek Christian parents, Agathon and Politia. They had been married for many years but were childless. They prayed to God to bless them with a child, which they would raise in a true Christian atmosphere. Their prayers were answered with the birth of a girl, and because she was born on the 6th day of the week, they named her Paraskevi, the Greek word for Friday. What impressed Paraskevi the most was not her parents' guidance, but the Christian life which they led. Thus, she knew from a young age the way of life she would one day lead. She obtained her education from secular books and from the scriptures. She was also very knowledgeable in the field of philosophy. Bolstered by her Christian upbringing and philosophy, she often conversed with other women about Christianity, trying to strengthen their faith in this new religion. Many noblemen wanted to marry this beautiful, educated and rich woman. Her understanding and kindness made her even more desirable, but having a higher goal in life, Paraskevi rejected any marriage proposals. When she was 20 years old, both her parents passed away. Filled with the Spirit of Christ and Christian ideals, she sold all her worldly goods and dispersed most of her money among the poor. The remainder was contributed to a community treasury which supported a home for young virgins and widows who had dedicated their lives to the teachings of Christianity. This was not enough for her, however, and, unprotected, she went out to teach the way of Christ, knowing that death was waiting for her at the end of her journey. It was during this period that the Jews and Romans persecuted the Christians with the greatest intensity. She left Rome at the age of 30 and began her holy mission, passing through many cities and villages. Eventually, the Roman Emperor, Antonius Pius, heard of Saint Paraskevi's holy mission. Upon her return to Rome, several Jews filed complaints about her, and Antonius summoned her to his palace to question her. Attracted by her beauty and humility, he tried with kind words to make her denounce her faith, even promising to marry her and make her an empress. Angered by her refusal, he had a steel helmet lined with nails and placed tightly on her head. It had no effect on the saint, and many who witnessed this miracle converted to Christianity. Hearing of this, Antonius had them put to death. Thrown into prison, Paraskevi asked God to give her the strength to face the terror which awaited her. Antonius again continued the torture by having her hung by her hair and her hands and arms burned with torches. The saint suffered greatly, but had the will not to submit to the pain. Antonius then prepared a large kettle of oil and tar, boiled the mixture, and then had Paraskevi immersed in it. Miraculously she stood as if she were being cooled rather than burned. Angered, Antonius thought that she was using magic to keep the contents cool, but the saint told him that he could test it. She took some of the boiling liquid and threw it in the emperor's face. It burned his eyes and blinded him. She stepped out of the kettle and went to Antonius, telling him that only the Christian God could cure him. Immediately he regained his sight, and humbled by the miracle, he freed the saint and ended all persecutions against the Christians throughout the Roman Empire. Free now, Paraskevi went forth with greater zeal to accomplish her apostolic mission. As long as Antonius was alive, she taught without fear. However, he died and was replaced by Marcus Aurelius. During his reign, a pestilence befell Rome and many people died. Once again, the Christians were blamed. The emperor was forced to change the laws dealing with non-believers. Paraskevi was captured in a city which was ruled by a man called Asclepius. Refusing to sacrifice to the pagan gods, she was thrown into a pit with a large snake. The saint made the sign of the cross, and the snake did not harm her. Asclepius, realizing that a great and mighty power guarded Paraskevi, let her free to teach others about Christianity. She soon arrived at the city in which she would meet her death. Tarasius was the ruler here, and he summoned her to the palace for trial. As Antonius, he also ordered his soldiers to prepare a kettle filled with boiling oil and melted tar, and the saint was placed in it. Once again, nothing happened, and many of the onlookers converted to Christianity. Paraskevi was then tied and beaten, and afterwards imprisoned and a huge rock placed on her chest. She prayed to Christ to help her to be strong. The next morning, Paraskevi was taken willingly to the temple of Apollo. Everyone praised Tarasius, thinking that he had succeeded in breaking Paraskevi's faith. However, upon entering the temple, the saint raised her hand and made the sign of the cross. Suddenly, a loud noise was heard, and all the idols in the temple were destroyed. The priests and idolaters dragged her from the altar, beat her, and pushed her out of the temple. The priests demanded that Tarasius kill Paraskevi. She was convicted and condemned to death. When the saint was taken out of the city to be beheaded, she asked to be left alone for a few moments so that she might pray for the last time. Afterwards, the soldiers returned and executed the saint. Saint Paraskevi is considered to be a healer of the blind because of the miracle she performed in restoring the sight of Antonius Pius. So, what can we take from the life of this blessed saint? Firstly, we see how much faith Saint Paraskevi had, even in situations that seemed very dire. Despite the prospect of being tortured, she never denied her faith, showing her great love for Christ. Christ was her priority. Her goal was to be with him forever, and nothing got in the way of this goal, not even possessions, the prospect of a luxurious aristocratic life, or the fear of death. Because of her love for Christ, she was also able to reveal Christ to others, purely through the way she lived her life. From the life of Saint Paraskevi, we also see the impact that parents have on their children. Through the example of Saint Paraskevi's parents, Agathon and Politia, and the daily struggle they took to live a virtuous life. May we use Saint Paraskevi's life as an example for our own lives. Saint Paraskevi, intercede for us.